but I always the person that held back. But I could do that because I would have just like females come up to you, just like feel your arm or like lift up your top and feel you, all that kind of stuff, even when you're younger, right? So when you're in shape, you don't need to be going and talking to 1,000 people and maybe get 10 from 1,000. You didn't have to do all that work. You do the work in the gym, do the work with your health, your well-being, and you're going to look good and you're going to feel good, not just in that aspect of life, in all aspects of life, but also you're going to have females come to yourself. And, you lose 20 pounds and have a decent chest and a decent back. That's it. That's all you need.
Okay, welcome, brothers, to today's live stream, next episode of the Max Theory Show. We've got a very, very special guest here today. We've got pro bodybuilder, elite athlete, Ryan John Baptiste. A little background to how we met. Ryan actually helped me with my prep on my one and only competition back in 2019. It was tough, but 2019? Yeah, it's a little while back. Yeah, I'm still rinsing those pictures today. So Ryan helped me a lot. He actually was recommended to me by one of the managers in my gym, actually, because you done a prep for Jermaine, and he was like, "You got to go with this guy." And I was like, just reached out, and one of the best, one of the best decisions I made. I learned so much, and Ryan has competed at the top level you can get in bodybuilding. I'd say his physique's one of the top 1% in the world. I'd say we can get into that. Like elite level. So and my group is full of guys. We're trying to max out all areas of life. So fitness, finances, relationships as well. Like we're trying to get to that top level. So it's a pleasure to have you on board. So Ryan, can you just share with everyone your kind of history in terms of fitness, what got you into it, and your kind of your achievements and where you are today, basically?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been in, maybe like yourself, I've always been involved in some kind of fitness, some kind of training. Like growing up, going to school, I did every sport that they threw at you. I did. So and then I went and did a bit of football, athletics, even cricket. So I was involved in a lot of sports. And with the sports, you would do a bit of weight training, right? A bit of resistance training, weight training. So that was always there, complementing the sports that I did. But then when obviously you pick up certain injuries or you lose interest in a certain sport, when that's all and gone, there's only one thing left, as you get a little bit older. So in my 20s there was the gym was always available, and the gym is always something that I've enjoyed. I enjoyed the pump. I remember being younger, before I went out, going out like to a club, I remember just doing push-ups and using my weights in the room, to get that pump. So I'm a bit of a pump chaser where, when you have that pump, it just feels really good. So from the age of 18, when I started training, it really kind of motivated me to stay in shape. And one day I was at home and I thought, so what can I do? I feel, I've got a good genetics, good physique. And I thought, look, what can I do? So I remember Googling. I remember typing in Google how to get on the front, because I used to read the magazines, the Muscle and Fitness, right, and Flex. So I remember Googling how to get on the front cover of Muscle and Fitness. I remember actually Googling that, and up popped a competition. So I thought, oh, this is interesting. So I read through it, and I was like, okay, the winner of this category, fitness model category, can get a spread in the magazine. So I thought, all right, let's give this a shout. I think it was like 3 months away. So I thought, I'm in decent shape now. Let me just carry on what I'm doing. I had no idea what I was doing, but all I knew is that I felt in good shape and I was in good shape. So I went to the competition and I did well and I got first place. And I basically got this spread in Muscle and Fitness from that. And from there on, I kept competing and just building my way up the ladder. To this day, where I'm an IFBB pro and been on the Olympia stage, qualified for Olympia twice. Didn't go this year, but because I had the injury, but I've been on stage amongst the best, and that's what motivates me to stay in shape, with obviously the background of enjoying what I'm doing at the same time. So that's where I am right now, and that's what's motivated me throughout the whole years. I'm 36 now, so you know, for me, it's always been a long-term thing, just because I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy the pump. I enjoy improving myself.
Amazing and interesting. Your origin into it. It's very similar to me. So I was into sports. I'd done football, rugby, basketball, all the sports in the world. And then after a certain age, for me it was university. I kind of felt like I didn't know where the sports were going, and I always had a vision of what I wanted to look like when I was older. So it's like all that time, you know, training 3, 4, 5 times a week in team sports, all of a sudden became gym. So and I think a lot of people who struggle probably don't have that. I'm not sure if you experienced that with some of your clients or people that you know, where they wasn't really into sports growing up and they're now trying to get into fitness. Do you find they find it a bit harder?
Yeah, definitely, because, you know, it's a whole new kind of realm that they're entering. So they haven't really got that focus and like that discipline that you attain when you're obviously growing up and you're younger, right? So it's a whole learning process that they have to kind of find. So when I have clients like that, that's when my coaching comes into it, and just my own experience of knowing how to guide someone going through that process. Because if you're new to something, you know, you're going to need that extra help, that extra bit of motivation, that extra bit of that tap on the shoulder saying, come on, let's do it. You know, this is what can happen if you stay consistent with anything that you do. And, you know, and they have to be emotionally attached to that. You know, you have to be emotionally attached, because if you just say you want it, but you're not emotionally attached to it, then you're going to maybe do it for a couple of weeks and then drop out. So you really have to have that burning sensation, that burning goal that you really want to achieve. You know, every day you wake up, you know, that's what you're thinking about, you know. When you have that feeling, it might take 1 month, it might take 2 months, it might take half a year to get that kind of feeling, but you just have to stick with it. And that's the key. You have to stick with it. People start something, and this is what I always say to my clients. Like I say to them, look, if you start this now, we can be here, but at this point in you know, in X amount of time. But if you start and then stop before you see change, that's where it goes wrong. Okay, when people stop before they see change, then they just go around in circles. It's that change you need to see to then obviously it helps motivate yourself to then push forward. So I just say to people, just wait until you see the change, and then you're gonna love it. You know, you're gonna love it. So anyone in this group watching, I would say, like, persist with whatever you're doing. You know, and remember, you see yourself every day. So you know, you might not see that anything's changing, but I guarantee if you're doing if you're sticking to some kind of plan or some kind of routine that's hard, then I'm sure they're going to be changed at some point, for sure. Just have to stick with it.
Yeah, 100%. Would you say that's the reason why most people fail?
Yeah, because they quit before anything happens. Like the impatient, you need to be patient as well. I mean, people are so impatient that when you want something right now because you're really excited about it, but you're not seeing it happen, then you're going to give up. But you know, you have to do the opposite. You know, you have to literally be the opposite. You have to be patient. You have to be really patient. You might see it straight away. That's a blessing, but you might not. So you have to be really patient and think to yourself, look, that person on that photo or whatever didn't just happen. You know, the amount of like sessions, say for like myself, the amount of grueling sessions that I've been through, some harder than others, but either way, I had to turn up. I had to go to the gym, whether it's by myself or with other guys. It's just been part of my life, but it's a lot of hard work, you know. Going to the gym is a lot of hard work, you know, and training and spending time away from other things that you can be doing. But for me, that's a big part of myself. So I look at it the other way. I look at it as like, if I'm doing something else, that's taking my time out of eating food or going to the gym, you know. So that's the way I kind of look at it, because again, you know, if you don't look after yourself, you might as well just say bye now, you know. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I had so much motivation to succeed with fitness. There was a few things. Number one was, you know, women. Like, that was a huge driver for me. You know, I felt like I was always like the ugly side friend growing up. The girls I wanted never went for me. They always went for my friends who were better looking, taller. And I thought I needed to level the playing field. That was a huge thing. And also maximizing my potential. I always imagined myself being a grown man, you know, having this kind of car, having this kind of muscle. That makes sense. Having this amount of money. So that was just a big driver for me. So, you know, it wasn't ever a thing of, oh, I've got to train. But I feel for a lot of guys, it's not really worth it for them. You know, when they think about, oh, I can't eat this and I've got to do that and I've got to train all this time. So what was your, you know, I know you touched on it earlier, but what was your real driver, would you say? What was the core that makes you? Yeah,
so my initial driver, if I go from before, was just feeling good and looking good. Like I've always wanted not to be normal, you know, so like I don't want to walk down the street and just like, oh, it's just a normal guy, you know. I've always wanted to like, oh, you know, oh, you train kind of thing, you know. I mean, like, I'm just admitting it. That's like, when I actually think about it, that's, you know, like, okay, let me give you an example. So during lockdown, the first lockdown, I started training and I got very demotivated because of the stuff that I had at home. And it was summer. It's just, I was in the garage. It was too hot. I was just so demotivated, right? So I started to like put on, my body composition started to change. So I started to lose a little bit of like that, probably a little bit of muscle, and started to add on a little bit of body fat. So I didn't feel good within myself. So when I would go to pop to the shop very quickly, as you in the first lockdown, I just felt like a normal dude, you know. I thought, you know what, I can't. This ain't, you know. I'm talking about 18 years of like feeling good, you know. And I thought to myself, nah, this can't happen. This got to change. And then obviously I injured myself, so that ruined it. But after that, like now, I am back. I'm back, and I'm feeling a lot better about myself because I'm training. So initially, when I grew up and I got into this, I always want the pump. I want to feel good, like I mentioned before.
You've gone quiet. Hello?
Back. Sorry, yeah, someone tried to Cool. I always wanted to chase that pump and get that pump and look good before I went out. Yeah. And that was me a bit younger. But like now, because I've put in the whole work, I can put on a nice, I would say, like back in the day, it was the tops were a lot fitted. These days, it's not as fitted. It's just like, you know what I mean? Just a t-shirt to look like that you look like you train, right? So having that back and feeling good and looking good, that's, you know, for me, that's what makes me, and I feel a lot more confident looking and feeling like that. For sure, because you see people look, you know, and that gives you that confidence, you know, and the confidence is the big thing. That's the biggest thing. I'm not a person that's overconfident anyway, but it just gives me an inside feeling of, yeah, okay, cool, I feel good, you know. I would say I'm an introvert, like naturally, I'm an introvert. But I can put on that extrovert kind of personality sometimes, just because of that confidence that I get from looking the way I look, you know, and just feeling the way that you look, you know, that's important as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so happy you touched on that, and I'm so happy you're on this, because there's a lot of guys. Okay, so there's a lot of guys in the group who are really into dating. Yeah, so a lot of guys have grown up, they've struggled hard, and there's even guys which we call incels, so involuntary celibates. So they literally can't get women. Yeah. Right. And they pay a lot of money to coaches. So instead of, I would pay a fitness coach, I'd pay someone like you, but they'd rather pay a dating coach who will tell them to get confidence. You need to go on the street and approach 1,000 women. You do that for a year, and then you have to deal with confidence. And then they look out of shape and they're dressing like crap. And obviously, we saw it from another perspective. We saw what's going on. So what was your results? Like, go back to the early days of you training. You're wearing the tight tops. You're going to the clubs. What was that experience?
Okay, so I've never. I always called. I don't know if you're into a bit of football, but some people might do. I don't know. But I was always a person that held back. Okay, so I called myself Makalele. So back in the day, that was a defensive midfielder that just swept up kind of thing. So I always used to hold back and just hold back. Like you had all the attackers attack and chat to these girls and yeah, what's your number, blah blah. I was never a person like that, but I knew I looked good. So what would normally happen is that they would come to me. Okay. I mean, I can't remember. Maybe a few times I might have approached a few. I mean, my odds would have been a lot better if I did, like go and attack, but that wasn't me. So, but if I did, that would have been a no-brainer. It would have been a lot easier. But I always the person that held back. But I could do that because, I would have just like females come up to you, just like feel your arm or like lift up your top and feel your, all that kind of stuff. Even when you're younger, right? So when you're in shape, you don't need to be going and talking to 1,000 people and maybe get 10 from 1,000. You didn't have to do all that work. You do the work in the gym, do the work with your health, your well-being, and you're going to look good and you're going to feel good, not just in that aspect of life, in all aspects of life, but also you're going to have females come to yourself, and you lose 20 pounds and have a decent chest and a decent back. That's it. That's all you need. Your face slims down as well, so your face will actually look better. You'll feel better. It's a no-brainer. And when you feel better, you'll act better as well. You'll act better. So and females will latch themselves onto that. Some females. Yeah. I'm
literally battling. I mean, I've taken a break. I've literally been battling with guys on Facebook for days, saying looks don't matter, because a lot of them have been brainwashed by, a lot of these, coaches who say looks don't matter. Yeah. I think for marketing
initially it does. 100%. Initially it does. So that's all someone can see. All right. Let's get it for real, right? Like you're out in the club or you're walking around, or first impressions count. As simple as that. First impressions count. If you feel confident within yourself, your personality will come across as well a lot easier, a lot quicker. If you don't, if you got a great personality but you don't feel good about yourself, then it might take longer for your personality to come across because you're feeling nervous, and that's not the real you. So for me, it's a win-win. If you go and you get your physique and your mind on point, it's a no-brainer. Yes, you got women that might not like people that are buff, but I think, to be honest, most females that say that just in the back of their head, they love it. And, but either way, the majority will like a person that, I'm not saying you have to be overly buff, just like decent, 12% body fat. That's not crazy. 12-30%, that's decent. That's you can sustain that, that's sustainable. And most females will like that, and they would. For me personally, if a female saw two guys, and it's just first attraction, the initial appearance of someone, you're going to go with someone. 9 times out of 10, you're going to go with someone that looks a little bit leaner. Simple as. Yeah. Yeah, for
sure. I totally agree. And I feel like obviously, I think some of these coaches, like, they do have good stuff, like in terms of strategies, how to talk to women, and obviously you could probably improve your results in that particular aspect if you have those verbal skills and the charisma and that as well. But I feel like you're leaving a lot of potential on the table if you don't work out, if you don't kind of work on your your health as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yes, you got to have the basic talk, I guess. First of all, you just got to be you. Just got to be respectful. If you're not going to please everyone anyway with your chat, whatever chat that is, whatever kind of what these coaches teach, everyone's different. All right. So someone might respond differently to a certain conversation that so you can't please everyone. So as long as you feel good, you look good, then if you connect, you connect. If you don't, you don't. But you got to give yourself that best chance. So as long as you're respectful and you look good, then you can speak to less females and get more from it.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys that go as far as saying choosing signals don't exist. So what you described in terms of a girl coming up to you, touching you, that's like choosing signals. And obviously versus going out, and they try and deny that it doesn't matter. And it's like you sometimes scratch your head like, what world are these people living in? I reckon it's the coaches trying to sell their programs, right? Because obviously there's guys who don't, they don't want to put the work in. Like, a lot of these guys,
So how it is right now, I'm guessing obviously we've been locked down for nearly a year, right? So most of this dating stuff is online. Okay, so if it's online, you can't like this personality stuff. You can't really, most of the time, you can't really convey properly through text messages or whatever, however these dating apps work. So the first impression counts because, okay, Tinder, what is it? You swipe left or right, whatever way it is. Yeah, you're doing this, you're doing that. So first of all, straight away, that's one bonus of looking decent, right? I'm guessing most of the dating apps, there's a visual first. People are going to look at the visual. That's the first impression, the visual. Then obviously you're going to be messaging. Even now during lockdown, I mean, that means nothing, right? I mean, you can't really get that personality across. I guess you got video calls as well, but it's still just not the same. So to get in there, you need to you need to look good first of all. It's simple as that. Yeah, some people go for personality, but that's still after a while. You know, that might be someone that you're working with in your own workplace or something. But even these days, people are not working. People are working from home, so it's going to work in your favor if you look half decent. You know.
I mean, one thing I have observed, unfortunately, there are actually a few guys who actually go gym that actually look in pretty good shape, their physique, but the presentation is off. I describe it to like doing a bodybuilder competition where you don't know how to pose. Your shorts are off, the tan is off. You know what I'm saying? Someone with a lesser physique might beat you because they know how to present it. And that's one thing that I found, like, you know, it's like only half the journey. If you're talking about, obviously, if you're talking about feeling good, you know, and confidence, well, even, you know, if you're dressing poorly and you're getting bad responses, that can actually affect your confidence, depending even if you have got 8-pack. You know what I'm saying? You speak to this, no one speaks to you. You know, you speak to this woman, she just, you know, brushes you off. But you still got to have the basics, I suppose, like basic hygiene, you know, dress, present yourself well. Because as you said, you're talking about the tops you wear. That's fashion, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Showing off your physique. And that's one thing that I'm like, you know, okay, like if your goal is to make yourself improve your personal brand, you know, the gym, I say the gym is like, you're halfway there. Would you say? Or would you say it's more than that? Because I feel like you could be lean, just be lean and dress excellently, smell good, do your hair, and you could have better results than someone who has potentially even as big as you, but presents it off. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's definitely. I mean, fashion will definitely play a toll. I mean, because obviously, if it's the winter now, right? Say. You're not really, you know, it's harder to see your physique. So yes, dress sense and having a little bit of guidance on that side does help, I would say. Again, for first impressions. So that would help, but you can still, you know, if you're 12% lean compared to someone that's 20% lean, 20% body fat, okay, compared to someone at 12% body fat, you can see it in the face as well. So, and again, people look at the faces initially as well, right? The eyes, the face. That's the attraction, first off. So face is important. So the gym, it's about 50-50, I would say. You know, for me personally, I think a female would look at a male from top to bottom. So they'll look at the face and look down. Okay, so that would be probably the first thing that their eyes will do. They'll look straight ahead to their face, and then they will look down and then back up again. So face, obviously, get yourself in good shape, and then look half decent in your attire at the same time. So yes, it's all they are both important for sure.
Yeah, and I experienced this just before we got locked down again, going out in the cold, having to wear my jacket. It's like, oh, all this training, I can't even show it off. I definitely find having more fun in the clubs and online as well. Like, hopefully, you know, I could show off a little bit. Okay, so Ryan, let's get into it. So, how do we look like you? Like, how do we do it? Like, even me, like, I'm still trying.
Oh, it takes time, man. Like I said, I've been training since 18, like weights since 18. I mean, back then it was a bit off and on, but either way, I was introduced to the gym and just to how to lift weights properly. I remember it was a gym in Edmonton at the time, back in the industrial states, and that's where I started training. And then these guys are like, yeah, we train like this, we train like that. So that's where I kind of got the old school techniques and training sessions. So I've been training since 18. I'm now 36, so that says it all, you know. So when I was probably around about 80 kg, around about 18, 18, 19. I'm now, I wouldn't say 100%, I wouldn't say I'm like lean, but if I'm lean, I'm probably like 98 kg lean, yeah? So that's what, like 18, 20 kg of muscle mass. So it takes a long time. That's 18 years straight. So what I say to people is, like I said, you have to stay with it, but you have to enjoy it. So you have to find a way to enjoy it. And like I said, the best way to enjoy it is to start seeing progress. And to start seeing progress is to stay consistent. So it's once you get consistent, you'll start seeing progress, and that will drive you on to the next stage. And then it's just a ongoing process. And then before you know it, you're a gym rat. And you love eating, like you like selecting good foods, you like having a few cheat meals, but you can still stay in shape because you've got you got that added muscle. When you got added muscle in your physique, you can just burn through things like that, so you can have your treats as well at the same time. So when I knew that I could have treats and train and still have a decent physique, it just kept me going. I could keep going and going and going. Yeah.
What's your attitude and approach to like cheat meals and treats? Because obviously you got a family as well, a young family as well, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they must enjoy treats and going out and the family. So what's your approach to that? How often do you have it, and how do you feel? Like, because me personally, like I almost feel terrible these days. Like, I mean, I'm trying to lean down, and like I have a treat, and I'm like, like, did I really need to do that? So what's your approach to it?
Yeah. So like, it has to be like whatever I do has to be sustainable. So I think to myself, I don't want to overdo it. And I don't want to underdo it. I still like my treats. I like white chocolate, cookies. I like all that kind of stuff. Nutella. So I would throw it in during the weekend. Like, this is how I would work it. So normally Monday to Friday when I'm at home, I'm working, I've got a routine. I have my meals at certain times of the day. I don't just have them because I need to have them. I actually feel hungry because I've trained my body to feel hungry at those times, right? So I'm eating my meals, and I really hardly have time or feel the urge to snack on rubbish or just to eat chocolate because I'm having my meals. I'm actually getting full by eating good meals. Yeah, so I don't have the urge. But when it comes to the weekend when I'm not working and things are a little bit less, like no routine type thing, the routine doesn't exist, then I will eat whatever with the family here. Like, have a few bits and pieces here and there. But the good thing about here is that because I eat pretty well, the family eats well, so it's quite easy to have a dinner with what they're having. Like, my kids will have, like today they had salmon and like a jacket potato, roasted jacket potato with some veg. So that's clean, right? And it's tasty. So I had that as well. So it's not too bad in the household. But on the weekend, I might have a Five Guys. I had the Five Guys last weekend and had one burger and I had some chocolate and I was good to go. If you just minimize things like that, it won't have any toll on your body whatsoever. But if you continue to have it, say Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Friday, you might skip one day. But if you're having it 5-6 days a week, then it's going to add up. Definitely going to add up, especially if you have a lot of it. So if you're one of those people that sometimes feel down and you sit on the sofa and you're just eating cookies after cookies after cookies or whatever that you like eating, then that's going to take its toll. And then you're going to go in this spiral. So you need to snap out of it and start eating more of the good stuff. So you can actually have more food, but the good stuff, and which will fill you up to stop you having those urge to eat other foods. And you can minimize those by maybe just having it on the weekend, like a Saturday or a Sunday. And my thought process behind that is I look forward to it a lot more. So if I get to, like, say Thursday, Friday, I'm having a bit of an urge, I think, I've only got one more day and I'm going to go out and have Five Guys or KFC or whatever, a tacos. So if you minimize it, it can work in your benefit because you're going to look forward to it a lot more, and you can then at the same time, make more progress by eating better foods and, eating less junk.
That's great advice. So when you go to Five Guys, you'll just get the burger, you won't get the fries.
Yeah, so good shout. I like the last 2 times I went to Five Guys. Like for me personally, Five Guys, their burgers are that are amazing. I can't like I've been to so many other joints. Yes, other joints got like gourmet burgers are really nice, but this one I don't know. For some reason it's just very juicy. But anyway, so normally I would I would say like a couple of years ago I would have the chips with it and the refill drink, whatever, the bottomless drinks. But recently I've just had burgers just because I want to kind of clean up from the first lockdown, obviously. Just trying to clean it up a bit. So when I go there, because Five Guys, they like to give you so many chips. So I think to myself, you know what, I can cut that out and just have the burger because I like the taste of the burger anyway. So I'll just have the burger. I was thinking of doing 2 burgers the other day, but I didn't. It's just too expensive. But anyway, the burger in itself is decent. Yes, it's got, and again, you can choose and select what you want inside of it. So you can, you remove the cheese. It's a decent, and any sauces. It's a decent breakdown of macros.
So you'll have the bread, take off the cheese, take off the sauces, just have the vegetables.
No, I didn't. But you could do that to make it a lot cleaner. Yeah. But I like if I've only had that once. I had Five Guys. That's the only kind of like bad meal I had last week. So it wouldn't really make a difference. Don't feel guilty if you're just having something once or twice a week. Hey, it's not going to do anything.
That's great advice. And I forgot to mention, obviously, Ryan, this is a serious level bodybuilder in terms of obviously you've done, cover magazine models, you're a sponsored athlete as well. So we're talking top level, almost 100K followers on Instagram. So, you have to present yourself. I mean, you can't slack ever, can you? Or like, how was your process? Like, did you just use old content again, or what? How did you?
No, I sometimes like during lockdown, I did like sometimes I post up old content, but I do say this is not me now. I'm very honest with what I post. I don't say, oh, this is me now, and I keep 5% body fat shredded. I say to people, look, when I get myself into shape for a competition, this isn't sustainable. Okay, like 3% whatever percent body fat is not sustainable. But what's sustainable is what I look like right now, which is about 12%, 13%. That's sustainable. And I've posted up photos of what I look like now, and it's definitely sustainable to be in that shape. You just have to create a routine. It's as simple as that. Once you create a routine that works for you, okay, whether it's a coach doing it for you or you do it yourself, once you've created that and created habits. Once you create those habits and create that routine and it works, then that's all you have to do. Just stick with it. You might have a little bit of trial and error at times, but that's what it's all about. That's how you learn. When I train my clients, I don't know everything about them. I know some things about them, but I'm only going to understand how their bodies work when I work with them for a couple of weeks. Then I can find out, okay, cool. They respond to that well. They look like they're dropping body fat with these food sources or this calorie intake. And that's how you learn about yourself at the same time, So you have to create that routine and find something that works for you, and then you can maintain a decent look.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed your process in terms of, the weekly check-ins, sending you the pictures, sending you the weight. Yeah. And, I've always felt like every week, you were always, giving me something tailored. And I literally just followed your plan. I always kind of felt, I wish I kind of slacked off to see what you would have done. I feel like I kind of missed out on, when you would have sat down with me and said, oh, you're slacking, or would you have just been I don't know because you've had that. Yeah, because for me, like, I guess, I was very motivated for the competition, obviously, and the fear of, being practically, well, not naked because I was wearing shorts, but that was enough of a driver to, don't mess up at all. I mean, there was times I was even using excess sauces, and and I'd get disappointed my weight wasn't moving as it should. So I just wanted to. So like, do you have to sit down with some clients and say like you're not up for it, you're not mentally? Because I feel like fitness really weeds out. Like, I don't want to sound bad, but those natural losers that kind of just don't achieve anything. I feel like fitness exposes that a lot. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah.
Or what's your?
No, definitely. Yeah, it definitely it weans out the ones that don't really want it. Okay, that think they want it at the beginning, but don't really want it. And you know, I've had clients that did really well and still are doing really well on the plans that I'm giving them because they actually follow it. And there's some people that don't follow it because something else came up or they're just not motivated enough. And in the end of the day, that person has to do it. I can only guide someone so far. So when I come across someone like that, I'm like, okay, but I'll sit them down, whether it's on the phone or through video at the moment. At the time, back in the day, obviously you could do it in person. But I find, okay, cool, what's going on in your life, you know? What's happening? Because that's going to, there's a lot of things that happen outside bodybuilding or outside your actual plan, right? So what's happening? Tell me, be honest, like, be open. And once we get through that, then I can say, okay, so where are you at this moment in time? Like, honestly, be honest. So it's all about being really open and honest. And once I kind of grab those answers, I think so. Look, if you're doing a competition, say, you have to be 110 in, or we can wait for another time. You know, whether you're not motivated at the moment or you've got a lot of things are on, then don't do it. But if you're in a lifestyle thing, I said, look, okay, we can work around that. You know, so okay, I know this program is so long, but it might take you a little bit longer. That's not a problem. Don't be disheartened about it, you know, because that might be the case where they're not seeing progress. I say, okay, cool, but let's change this, let's change that. And you just have to be a little bit more patient with it, because that could be just that little, you know, that little aspect could be the key to you really getting the best out of someone, you know, because some people think it happens straight away. It just depends on the individual, you know, on that person. But I will definitely sit them down and kind of make it an open conversation. Sometimes text just doesn't do it, you know. You have to really conversate as human beings.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of guys watching this, you know, will be in that, you know, average physique body type. So skinny fat, basically. So, you know, not much, you know, rarely trained, or they may be used to the gym where they train. Hello?
Yeah, you cut out a little. Yeah, start again. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was saying, so a lot of guys watching this will have that average body type. So maybe they might not be fat, but they'll have that skinny fat look, if that makes sense. So not much muscle, and maybe a bit of a stomach, bit of belly fat, and they want to look like you. You know what I'm saying? And like even like all they look at me and they kind of see like number one, they look at my physique and see it's like kind of unattainable. Like they might accuse me, or they might think that I'm taking steroids or something like that. And I told them, like, honestly, like, you know, it's been, you know, I started training in 2009. So what? It's like coming up to 12 years or something. And the thing is that, I mean, I don't even want to say that to people, because like that's not very motivating. It says, oh, you're gonna, you know, 12 years of hard training, you might look like me. But I mean, the reality is I started seeing my body change dramatically in 1 year to 2 years. Right. But even that is almost too much for some people to hear. And I find, for example, cutting down, you can change your body dramatically in 12 weeks if we're talking about fat loss, weight loss. So it's almost tempting to put everyone through a weight loss program to at least see a change. And then, you know, but really they want to look big, they want to look jacked, they want the abs, which obviously... So I wanted to know, what's your kind of approach for your clients? Like, because, you know, like, imagine trying to coach someone through 12 months before they really start seeing results and feeling good. Are they really going to stick that out? So what's your best approach for those kind of guys?
Yeah, so just touching on what you mentioned about like you saying you trained for 12 years and it took you that long to get it. I say to people, yes, it took me that long to get to where I am right now, but I guarantee you'd look 100% better if you look like me a year into when I was training as well. So that's what I always say. So look, yeah, I know I've been training for 18 years, but me training 1 year in or even 6 months in when I was a little younger, you would look really good looking like that now, you know. I would say, like, especially if they're a beginner or they haven't done any weights for a long time, then I say your body's going to respond really well, you know. So it's relative to what you look like, your starting look, to what you'll look like in, say, 12 to 16 weeks, you know. I said you're going to look a lot better. So don't compare yourself to me. Compare yourself to your starting position. And when you see the transformation from your starting position, and people see you and they give you comments, you're going to feel a lot better, and then you're going to continue. So that's what I would say to someone, because I always say to that beginner, I said, look, you're not going to look like me in say 16 weeks. It's taken me over 16 years, right? If that was the case, then I've done something wrong personally, right? So so I say, look, I'm going to be realistic with your goals. This is what we can achieve. Yeah. If you're obviously, what do you say, skinny fat? If someone's skinny fat, I likely put them on like a building program where they're still going to get leaner and change their body composition anyway, because it's a whole new thing that they're doing to their body, especially the workouts that I like to give people. They're not easy. So their body's going to change from their starting position anyway. So don't keep comparing yourself to IG or people that you see in your gym. Compare yourself to you first, okay? And then as you go forward, yes, you can get other guys and girls to keep you motivated, because that's where you want to be. But compare yourself to yourself first, and use that as a driving force going forward.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And if you could just encourage the guys to just follow the right plan, because I feel a lot of people are doing some bogus plans. Like, I'm not sure about. I mean, I followed your method. Your method, when you gave me your plan, was very similar to what I was doing. Kind of previously for the years. Maybe a couple more reps and stuff, but essentially. And I really appreciated the diet plan. Was very, I felt like, okay, this is a bodybuilding diet plan. I was having a couple extra meals a day, spreading things out. But I feel like a lot of people are lost in terms of they're doing like full body workouts or athletic workouts, where it's like. I even spoke to one guy today. He's doing two, he's doing like, the same, one set of legs, one set of abs, one set of upper body, and then 2 hours elliptical every day. And I'm like,
right.
There's smarter ways, and with something like that hard, you're probably not going to see results, and you're definitely going to give up. So, if the guys just have a plan, there's so many online, but I think maybe because there's so much information, people get lost as well. Like, people pick up a magazine and they're like, confused and like, this is expert. And I always say to people, just follow people that you want to look like. Like, a lot of these people doing these articles, they'll use a stock image. Like, someone posted in the group this crazy metabolic burn workout, and this like ripped black guy, and then like the person who actually wrote it was some, the body was less average, if that. And I was just like, you need to really like it's so hard. Like, they can go on your Instagram, they can go on my YouTube, whatever, or someone else, and just follow what they say. It's not hard. I don't know why people.
No, because like that person that you're likely to read, the information from, is like, they're likely to give them their own protocol, which is what I do, So like, because that's the protocol that I know that works with myself and other clients. Yes, it may differ a little bit from client to client, but it just like you said, follow someone that you get the attachment with, and then use them as a coach, or get some information from them or whatever, but I understand there's a lot of content out there and can be overwhelming, but hone in on a couple, maybe just one person, and derive that information from them,
for sure. And another topic, so this podcast, we like to I like to just, be as real as possible in terms of like money. Like, even yesterday, I had like an entrepreneur who was talking about, he was signing on at one stage, and he went to, selling his business, and even had one guy previously, he's all about, his things, whole gear and steroids. And obviously that's become very popular in terms of YouTube. There's a lot of people, and that's almost their niche of like recommended cycles. And the reason, obviously, I'm motivated by you, and even people like Simeon Panda, I know they'll say like, oh, he's definitely on gear, but he claims he's natural. And I actually want to believe it. Like, I don't care what other people think. I want to believe it.
I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and that's one of my motivations a couple of years into it, and the reason, sometimes I'm not gonna lie, it's sometimes it crosses your mind like, oh wow, what could I achieve if I did do that? But for me, I've always been scared about the health risks. I even watched, there's a guy, more plates, more dates. I'm not sure you heard of him.
Yeah,
he done a video recently. Yeah, one teenager just done one cycle and had kidney disease or something like that. Yeah, and even in the group, there's guys talking about they want to do it, and I don't mind. Like guys can talk about that. I'm not the expert. I will direct them to. There's another guy in the group who I interviewed. He was talking about he done this and this happened and blood was going everywhere and this and that. So what would you say to someone who's like, oh, Brian, I really want to look like you. Like I want to, what should I take? Like, what would your advice be to them? Like in terms of the whole.
So I get this like question all the time. Basically, I get a question all the time. Sometimes I even do consultation with it. But so like, first of all, I derived the information from them. Like, well, what do you want to do? First of all, what is it that you actually want to do? Do you want to go on stage, or is it just for a lifestyle? Obviously, I go by the age as well, how old they are, how new they are to training. So I put all those kind of aspects into play, and then I work something out. Okay, and then I say to them, look, you can do it if you want, but I'm not a person always that would never push it on them. I'd always say, look, it's up to you. So if someone's like a beginner and wants to get somewhere quickly, right? That's most of the questions that I would get. I want to do it now. I want to get there right now. Blah blah. I say, no, hold tight, don't. Just do it. Just do whatever you do naturally. Okay, do it naturally. Let your body, give your body a time to respond to a new stimulus. Which is the training and the food consumption. Max that out first. And then if you then want to think about it, then you go and you can do something small. If you're going to do that, start small. Don't just go large or get something off the internet that they're doing like 300 grams, 3,000 grams, or whatever. Take it easy, go in slowly. But you should. If you're young, you're a teenager, you shouldn't touch it. Even if you're in your 20s, and you shouldn't even touch it. You should be at least 5-6 years in and max out your full potential before you even want to think about starting with something. Yes, there are people out there that go in on it. Some people I know that take it, they just don't look any different, So for me, that's not, you need to get the foundations right first. And it's your food. If you're not eating properly and you're semi-training okay, and you're taking loads of stuff, you're not going to look good. Okay, you need the food. The food will work with that stuff. If you're taking, if you've got all three aspects, food, training, and that, then you might do a lot better. But also, you have one other thing, which is genetics. So there's loads of things that can work for one person more than the other. So that's something that I would always say. Just be mindful for your genetics and make sure you're training hard and you're eating properly before you even think about that kind of stuff. Because it can be unsafe for sure.
Yeah, for me, that's pain. That's like the bodybuilding version of hell, as if you take all this stuff, risk your health, and you still don't get results, or you still don't look great. That's got to be horrible.
Yes, and most people are like that. Like I'm going to say, most people are. That's what it is. That's what they think. Oh yeah, because I'm taking it, I can back off on the food, or I can, or only train hard when I'm on that. And then as soon as they stop a cycle, they just go back to doing nothing. It's pointless. And then because they're not looking good again, they then go back on it. And then that's where it goes wrong. And then they dose up, because what happened when they finished that cycle, they, after a few weeks, they felt flat again. So they thought, okay, next time let's go up again. And that's where it goes wrong. And what's happening, they just need to keep the same routine that they had when they were on cycle, when they were off cycle. Same food consumption, same training. But people want to turn into Superman and do all sorts when they're on it. And then when they come off it, it's like, yeah, so, can't be asked now. I'll wait until I'm back on again. Whereas, it's, you have to be the same person on and off, and if that's your choice,
Yeah, it sounds like a slippery slope, when you
it does sound like a slippery slope.
Yeah, it turns to rich piano before long and end up.
Exactly. Personally, even that size is not something that I would like to be anyway. It can't be. I don't know any. Do you know any? I'm going to say 70-year-old. Do you know any 70-year-old that's 300 pounds?
No.
Think about it. I can't think of anyone that's got to 70 years of age and still 300 pounds. If there is, it's very minimal, you know. So when you look at it like that, whether it's muscle or fat, it doesn't matter. It's weight. Yeah, when you're that heavy, it's just no point anyway. So if you look athletic, or if you are athletic, around the 220 mark, 230 mark, that's decent, you know. Anything more than that is, you know, it can't be that good for the heart anyway.
For sure.
Yeah, long term anyway, yeah.
Oh, I'm so upset. Time is flying by. Literally, I've barely touched on lockdown. Okay, one more question for me. Then we're going to take a couple questions from the group, and then we'll kind of wrap up. So lockdown, like, what's your advice to guys? Like, what have you been doing? What have you got available? Like, what are we supposed to do right now? And also, you know, what's the plan in terms of nutrition? Are we bulking? Are we, you know, trying to be lean, calisthenics? Like, what advice for your clients? It's crazy.
I think like, depending on what equipment they've got. Let's say the majority have only got resistant bands. Should we stick with that on average?
Unfortunately, I mean, I'd hope guys have at least a dumbbell or a couple of dumbbells.
I haven't got a dumbbell, but if you
really?
so, yeah. But luckily, I've got access to somewhere. But but if you haven't got, let's say you've got a few little things. A few little dumbbells and, you know, resistant bands and a pull-up bar that you can attach to your door. You got a few things. First of all, you need to say to yourself, okay, cool. I'm probably not going to build a hell of a lot of muscle right now, okay? But what I can do is maintain what I've got and not lose it. That's the first thing, all right? So that's what you have to say to yourself. If you do gain or look better, then that's, in terms of building muscle, then that's a bonus. But you can, like, say if you want to get leaner, you can definitely do that. You can definitely, if you're looking to do a leaning process, you can definitely go from 16% body fat or whatever it is down to, you can definitely drop 4% if you wanted to, through food, cardio, and weights. You can do that all at home. You know, wherever you run on the spot, do a few HIIT circuits and with some weights, or go for a walk every day, go for a jog every day, whatever you want to do, having some kind of output, you can definitely burn body fat. But in terms of like muscle wise, you can definitely maintain pull-ups, barbell curls, push-ups. You can definitely maintain, but you have to have the food on point. Okay, the food is the critical part. I say to my clients, food is 70 to 90% of your goal, depending on where you are. So if it's 70 to 90%, that shows you how much priority you need to shift onto the food, especially during a lockdown where you haven't got much equipment. Okay, so you have to be on point with your food. Maybe have less carbs than you normally have when you're going to the gym, or if your output is lower, definitely lower your carbs, but maintain your protein consumption. Because what you want to do is maintain as much muscle tissue as possible. Have a certain amount of fats there. Don't remove your fats. Fats is important for staying lean, for even building muscle. It's very important. You know, the monosaturates is very important. So having your macros in place, you know, or having your meals, however you want to kind of look at it, having that clean and still in place will help maintain during this period now. Hopefully we'll be out in March, April, if it's people watching from the UK, hopefully. So from now till then, it's still 3 months, 2-3 months, right? So you can still do you can still get a lot of progress if you're looking to get lean, but you can still maintain what you've got. So when you get back into the gym, you're ready to take that next phase, you know, especially if you've achieved what you've achieved in the at-home phase. When you go to the gym, you can do a lot more, you know.
No, that's a great answer. And even personally, my approach, because my first lockdown, similar to you, like the body composition was off. Yeah. Literally the worst nightmare of losing muscle and gaining fat. I didn't have much equipment available. I prepared. I got some more equipment, so I could put about 50 kilos on one dumbbell. I could split the dumbbells to about 37.5, and I've got a bench. So leg day is still not the best, but you know, I've got enough to keep me going. And if my diet's on point as well, definitely helps. And that's what I would advise for most guys as well. Like, don't wait. Like, you know, if the nutrition's on point, you know, number one, you can get lean right now, you can get ripped. And if your body's untrained and now you're doing press ups and all this stuff and pull ups, like, you're gonna get results.
Yeah,
it might be different if, you know, if you've been training for years and years with heavy weights and, you know, full stacking machines and doing extra plates. But for the average guy, it's not an excuse. Would you agree?
100% agree. I mean, you do some pull-ups, especially pull-ups. You get a pull-up bar, you can definitely keep a good back and good rear delts. Look, many people can't do pull-ups anyways because for a reason, because it's hard. You do pull-ups and maybe like decline push-ups, you can do a lot of damage. You know, even if you've got a couple dumbbells, you can do floor presses. You know, you can do floor presses and just maybe obviously higher reps. And like you said, because they might not be as experienced or as, you know, as of long in the gym, their body might even respond to it, you know, because it's something different. It's a different stimulus as well. So their body might actually change.
For sure. Have you got time for a couple of questions? I know we're
Yeah.
Couple questions. Awesome. Okay, yeah, the short. I mean, we could basically really touched on it. He was just like, "What's the best body weight workouts to do at home to continue to build muscles, and how do you increase volume without heavy weights that you don't have access to, like when you're in the gym?" I think you touched on that. You talked about push-ups.
So like
high reps.
So like even with like pull-ups and push-ups and dips off the steps or stairs, what I would tend to do is like change the tempo, so make it a lot slower. So every rep will be maybe like 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. Say if I'm doing a push-up, 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. I mean, I'm not expecting anyone to do it with a pull-up, but dips, again, slow it down. Maybe isometric holds as well. People forget about training methods like that. You know, holding a certain position, that's hard. Yeah, your body, it's a contraction for a reason. The muscle is under tension. So however you want to think about it, it's under tension. So it's gonna break down the fibers and it's gonna grow. So in times like this, these are the methods and techniques that we can be using and utilizing. And like I mentioned, it's a change. So the body might even adapt, you know, make changes with it. So tempo changes, holds, higher reps, utilize those, you know, those different techniques for sure.
Oh, amazing. I never thought about holds, really. That's never really been... Maybe I don't enjoy it.
You could, like, say if you're doing, I don't know, 20 reps on push-ups, every 5 reps. So when you get to so say if you do slow, 1, 2, get to 5, really slow, hold for 5 seconds on the 5th rep, and then go, once you've done that, go 6, 7. And once you get to 10, hold for 5 seconds. You do that up to 20 reps, you're done. You're finished. Yeah, you could do 4 sets of that. I tell you now, the chest will be pumped, your front deltoids will be pumped, your triceps will be pumped, and even your biceps might be pumped as well. So, you know, I guarantee you change things up, just make it hard, and you'll massive difference.
For sure. Another question: what's the fastest way to build massive arms? And basically an exercise to do.
What's the fastest way to build? I mean, I've never really been a person that trains. I don't actually do arm days. Very, very, like, not that often at all. I've done a mixture of heavy weights and high volume. For me personally, high volume works because it works more long term. Reason why is because you go heavy for too long with your elbows, you're going to start to feel it after a while. So if you want them to get big over time, which they will, and stay injury free, then I would say go high volume. Like, I'm not saying like 50 reps, like 15, 20 reps, high volume reps. You know, it's a small muscle group, so he doesn't need that crazy amount, you know. And you've got to remember as well, you're still using them when you're doing chest and back movements, your triceps and your biceps. So, you know, you haven't got to go crazy heavy with them. Just get a lot of blood into them. Yeah, now and again you can go heavy, but I would say predominantly go a little bit lighter, but still very hard, you know, 15, 20 reps, still a hard session. Yeah.
For sure. Just to elaborate on that, yeah, I feel like, you know, the main thing is for people to have a well-rounded program to train their whole body, because they feel like they only want to train, you know, a lot of guys only want to train the parts that they see, or like abs. I'm just going to do abs.
No. Yeah.
That's the most annoying one to hear. But it's just like, obviously people are just confused. They go on YouTube, you know, they'll see all these ab workouts and you know, don't realize that, you know, just, you know, you're way better off just training your whole body, eating right. That will just happen almost, you know, without an ab day even.
Exactly. No, exactly. And some bodies, you might be genetically gifted in certain body parts where you don't even have to train it, you know? So don't always just say, oh, you have to do every body part every week. Sometimes you might have to skip, you know, a muscle group just because you might be a bit more dominant genetically in that area, you know?
For sure. And last question. I can't actually get the person's name, unfortunately, because of StreamYard. Doing a last gasp attempt. Okay, Chase Lewis asks, what's a great bodybuilding workout routine for a guy just starting out? My state has been out of lockdown since last summer and I have access to an old school gym. Lucky you. I'm jealous.
So beginner. So what was that, a beginner?
Beginner bodybuilding workout routine.
Okay, cool. So they've only just started. So they've got, I would say maybe like go at 3 to 4 times a week to start off with. And you could split it like back and biceps or back and triceps. Then you could go chest and triceps. And you then obviously you could do legs as a 4th one. And then you can go like abs and shoulders or something on the 4th session. And just split it like that. I know a lot of people can go push, pull legs, but that might be quite a lot of demand on certain areas. But I mean, there's no right or wrong. There's definitely no right or wrong. I've always mainly done a muscle group split. So I normally just train back, and I've done that since I started as well. And it's worked for myself. But the main thing is don't overdo it. That's the main thing. Don't overdo it. Don't go like, I need to go every day. You know, I need to train every day because I'm a beginner and I want to get to look like this. Because what's going to happen, you're going to burn out. You might even become ill and it'll just put you off. So take your time, go 3-4 times a week and just build it up. I mean, I never train. I averagely train 5 days a week. You know, I don't like, when I get to 6, I start to feel a bit achy. So 5 days is normally good for me. And that's me training for years, right? So, you know, you don't have to overdo it. Remember, the body only grows and changes when you actually rest and obviously consume food. So just more is not always better. Amazing. Fantastic advice from the pro himself. Ryan, where can people, you know, reach out for you for help or, you know, to man, if need be? Yeah, my main social media, I mean, my Instagram, obviously my name, Ryan John Baptiste, and obviously I'm putting about one or two videos a week on my YouTube at the moment on my workouts. I'm actually just filming my own workouts and doing voiceovers and like what I typically do, reps and sets and exercises. So you can watch all my videos now on YouTube. Again, that's the same, my name, Ryan John Baptiste.
Amazing. Yeah, I went through all your videos on that on the run up to that prep and during that prep. That helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to put those in the description. So Ryan, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us and the brothers. It was a pleasure. Would love to do this again. You know, literally, I've got probably another 20 questions.
Just let me know.
Lined up.
Yeah, just let me know. I don't mind. I mean, you could every month, whatever. You know, I don't mind. You know, it's always good. I like to help others and I like talking about it because it's obviously my passion. So, and any questions that come across, it challenges me and it kind of it brings back memories as well, you know, so I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to get you in the group. Do you use Facebook or just pure Instagram mainly?
No, Facebook. I've got a Facebook group as well. And I use Facebook. Yeah. Facebook's pretty good. People underestimate Facebook.
I'm loving Facebook right now. I used to hate it.
Yeah.
Like, better social life on Facebook than real life.
No, it is. It is definitely.
What's everyone up to today? Oh man. But yeah, Ryan, thank you so much. And guys, I hope you really enjoyed this one. I guess I'll catch you all on the next one.